my name is Vincent Rosa Chavez. I'm a producer here at Black Label Music, and today we're meeting with Casey Gorab, who is an intern and student at NYU. Do you want to say hi?
Hello, how are we doing?
Doing so good. If you could just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, just to get started.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a composer, and I mainly work in film and advertising. I'm really getting into, which I'm really excited about. But any sort of visual media, I just love writing music for it. I also like writing songs as well. I have a little background in musical theater. I guess overall, I would just call myself a musician who loves to just create and make music. And yeah.
So how did you start with music, and how did it lead to this sort of point where you're now composing for video and stuff like that? Like, at what point, like if you started with an instrument, at what point did it sort of like switch to, oh, I didn't want to write for video?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my background's in theater. So my whole childhood I was a performer. And I would do it, just for fun. And I also did it professionally in New York. When I was younger, I did a national tour.
Oh, really?
So all of a sudden, I was 11 when that happened, and I just fell in love with the entertainment industry. So from a really young age, I knew that I wanted to be in this arts entertainment industry, just creating something. For a while, I thought it was going to be performing. But then when I started messing around on piano, I never had any formal training, but I realized I really liked writing music. It's kind of fun. And from there, I wrote some songs. I was doing some songwriting, some musical theater songwriting. And then I realized the part that I like the most about it is just bringing out emotions and kind of taking what's on the surface and finding something a little bit deeper and expressing that through the music.
Yeah.
And someone in college was just like, hey, I know a director. They need music for their film. You want to give it a go? I'm like, sure. I'm like, I never tried it before. Sweet. But I'm like, okay, why not? Try new things. And I realized my favorite part about what I had already been doing in music, bringing emotions to the surface, was exactly what film composing is.
Yeah.
And I just felt so fulfilled in so many aspects through that. And that's when I decided I really wanted to pursue it.
Okay. And so you're pursuing a master's degree, is that right?
Yes.
What did you do for undergrad? Was it also
undergrad? I had a normal composition degree.
Okay.
So
and now you're
writing music, but now it's specific.
Film scoring specifically right now? Is that the case?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. You said before you were a singer, so is that your main thing?
Yeah, singing is my main thing. I play piano and guitar. I like to call it singer guitar. I mean, I accompany myself, but I'm not going crazy soloing or anything either.
So how did you find out about the Black Label internship?
My friend Aaron, he goes to school with me at NYU, but he did the internship a couple years ago. He just mentioned it, and I thought it was really neat, so I gave it a go and I applied.
So how has your education from NYU, as well as your experience as a performer and musician, sort of contributed to the work that you do at Black Label, or what you've done over the course of the internship?
Yeah. I think everything up to this point has been really helpful in learning how to craft the songs.
Yeah.
And also what I've been doing at NYU and just on my own with my own freelance work is just writing with a purpose other than the music itself. So writing to serve something else.
Yeah.
I hadn't really done it in the Black Label sort of catalog library context yet, which I really loved about this internship. But I think up to this point, I've really been working on just writing with intention other than just, let's write a nice song.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how is what you've done for Black Label different from what you have done as a freelancer and in school?
So with Black Label, this was probably one of my first experiences when I didn't already have the media that I was writing for.
Yeah.
So I'd usually get a film and I'd see the picture and then I'd be like, all right, let's write. And I'd use the visual as inspiration. But with Black Label, it was more of an abstract feeling as my inspiration. So it was cool because I had some freedom in a sense, but I also had to keep in mind what would editors be looking for in a piece of music and what would like companies or advertising companies look for
Yeah.
in a piece of music. So it was a cool balance between the both.
Okay, that's cool. Were there any like major challenges switching to this sort of format of working that you weren't expecting or had to like deal with?
Um, I think it's not as much with the format of working, but I definitely needed to work a lot of my production, especially when I was trying more pop stuff. Most of my cinematic stuff is just been using a different production style that isn't genre specific to pop music.
Yeah.
So I was really just playing around and putting a lot more attention into the production side of things than I usually have before. So that was definitely something that was a challenge.
So you've been a teacher in schools and in private lessons. What do you enjoy most about working in those environments?
I love kids, and I love reaching them on an artistic level. Everybody's going through their own stuff at every stage in their life, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times kids aren't sure how to really express it. And so just having an outlet for them to just be artistic, no matter what they're going through, and I don't even need to know what they're going through,
Yeah.
and I don't most of the time, but it's just it brings me a lot of fulfillment just giving them a safe space to learn an instrument and to just learn about music and discover a new side of themselves. So ever since I started teaching, I knew that was definitely something I wanted to continue doing throughout my career.
Cool. So how has teaching helped with your own creativity and, for your own work as an artist and film composer?
Yeah, it's helped so much in many ways. One, communication, learning how to communicate ideas and musical concepts
Yeah.
to students who don't know music has helped me a lot communicating with directors and other clients that don't speak music. So just in the communication side of things, it's really helped me kind of bridge the gap between music terminology and just overall like regular terminology, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And on a more personal, creative level, I'm seeing them make up their songs. Like they make up songs on piano a lot of the time, and I always encourage that. Seeing them be so creative and limitless inspires me to keep doing that. I think the older I get and the more education I get, it's a blessing and a curse, but sometimes I get in my head about like standard chord progressions
Yeah.
or like the rules of music theory and all of that stuff. And that has definitely impacted my writing in one way or another. So seeing a completely fresh palette of just these new students who I've been their only teacher and I'm telling them do whatever you want,
Yeah.
seeing them do whatever they want and sound good, I'm like, you know what? I can do that. I'm good.
So do you think that like going to school and learning music theory and learning all these rules, how do you think it changed how you create music?
It's such an interesting topic because I had a setback for a really long time when I realized. I think when I went into an academic setting, I started thinking about everything academically. So when I learned music theory, I wasn't like, oh, these are guidelines and not rules. I can still do whatever I want. I didn't trust myself artistically enough, so I was mentally like, these are rules. Like, this is how you write music.
Yeah.
And I took it like that for now. I don't know if anybody really explicitly told me that, but that's how I treated my education for a really long time. And so that definitely put a setback in my writing because for a few years, honestly, I felt like my music was really inauthentic and just kind of cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel as creative. And I'm like, I had better instincts before I went to school, so I'd get really frustrated. But I mean, seeing where I am now and the quality of the music that I'm writing now and the especially like orchestration, I have an orchestra recording coming up. Like I wouldn't be able to do any of that if I hadn't gotten an education. So it's like, I think everybody just has to find the balance and trust themselves because I
Yeah.
think that's my biggest problem. I didn't trust myself enough.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the best moments of your career? Like, what are some like big moments and things that you're super proud of that you want to talk about?
Yeah. I guess like cumulatively being able to just see films and projects that I work on come to life
Yeah.
is the coolest thing. So like whenever I go to like film festivals and stuff, or a lot of films will have like premiere events, I think those are probably my greatest moments of my career. Just being able to go see
Yeah,
my work
that's
on a
cool.
big screen. And then, you know, in the credits, it's like music by Casey Gorab. I'm like, that's me. I'm like, oh my God. So that's really fun.
That's tight.
Yeah. And also, I'm trying to do more of this too, but I did a documentary recently and it got accepted into some festivals. And the documentary was about a guy who was born with a facial difference and he's had to have a lot of surgeries. And it was just talking about his life and, you know, his ups and downs. And he actually went to the premiere. So I got to meet him.
Wow.
And it's just like, really, really neat, that kind of stuff, because I'm getting connected with all of these people telling these real life stories, and that stuff's really fulfilling too. So yeah, just seeing projects come to life overall.
So, for somebody getting into this world and this world of film composing or composition in general or songwriting, do you have any tips or any advice that you would give to somebody that's just starting off?
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, always trust yourself.
Yeah.
If it sounds good, roll with it. I think another piece of advice is community is going to be your best friend. You really want to build community in this industry. So stay in touch with everybody you know, and always try and actively meet new people, because you never know who either is a director or like knows a director.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess those would be my two biggest tips. Don't be a stranger and stay true to yourself artistically.
Cool. Is there anywhere that we can find you on social media or anywhere that we can check out your music? Anything like
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. Yeah, all of my socials are just my name, Casey Gorab Music.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I like to post about all the projects that I do, and sort of like some in progress stuff too. So if you ever like that stuff, feel free.
Cool. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, my name is Vincent Rosa Chavez, and this has been Casey Gorab. Go follow her on Instagram and on social media and check out her work. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.